Hi everybody, this is the second video in our 5-3-5-4 combo day, so this is the 5-4 video. We are continuing to talk about slope intercept form. Remember, slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m stands for the slope, and the b stands for the y-intercept. So when they give us the slope and the y-intercept, if we start with the equation y equals mx plus b, and then we plug in the slope into the m, and the b is this number over here, but we keep our x and y the same. So I'm going to keep my y here, and I'm going to plug in a 4 for my slope, and I'm going to keep my x, and I'm going to plug in a -2, which I can call plus -2, or I can call -2, either way. But this is my new answer. We have y equals mx plus b. It's y equals 4x plus -2. Let's try another one. Again, it's y equals mx plus b. We leave our y there, we leave our x there, and we just put in the numbers for the slope and the b. So the slope is 0, and the b is, again, it's negative, so we say plus -3 or -3, whatever. Now, 0x, 0 times anything is 0. So our actual answer is just y equals -3. All right, once again, we're going to start with y equals mx plus b. The y stays. The m, in this case, is 3/2, and the b, in this case, is 0. So kind of like we did before, we can remember that we don't really need that 0. If you leave it there, you will not be counted wrong. But you can take it off and just say y equals 3/2 x. Since we're doing 2 videos in one day, I'm going to skip a couple of them. So I'm going to come down here. Y equals mx plus b. M is -1/2. And then we keep our x, and then we say plus 4. So y equals mx plus b. All right, last one in this section. So y equals blank x plus blank. Our blank here is actually 1, and our blank here is actually 0. So again, I could leave it like that. There's nothing wrong with it. I could call it y equals x, or I could call it y equals 1x. The most simplified version of that is y equals x, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, we can do the same thing with graphs. We're going to skip some because there's a bunch of them on here, but we're going to look for what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. And so I need to fill in my slope, I need to fill in my y-intercept. Well, the easier one to fill in is the y-intercept. You look for where it's hitting, and it's hitting there at 2 for this case. The other one is we just have to count. That's okay, we can do that. So we try to find a place where it like hits a intersection point, and we'll count from there. So there was an intersection point there, there was an intersection point there. There might be one kind of in the middle, but it's kind of hard to see. I'm just going to use these. So if I count my rise over run, so remember that, it's rise over run. I'm just going to go from this point up to this point, and I'm going to go, this is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2. So the rise was 5, the run was 2. So that's a slope of 5/2. All right, we're going to do y equals mx plus b. The easier part, I think, is the b. You just look at it, and it's a -2. Then you have to count the slope. So you look for a place where it hits another intersection point. There was an intersection there. There's also an intersection here. So if I count my rise over run, I'm going to go down 1, 2, and to the right 1, 2, 3. So down 2, right 3 looks like this. All right, this one I kept it on because it's a little bit different. Let's take a look. Here's my b. It's -2 again. My m, remember, is my rise over run, so I typically do that as a fraction. So rise over run, well, it's not rising at all. And it has a run, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, we can call it whatever. We'll just say 4. All right, 0 over 4, 0 over anything is just 0. And 0 times anything is also 0. So this actually, that m and the x just drop off. They're not, we don't need them. Because the slope here is 0. And so this is y equals -2. All right, y equals mx plus b. Here is my b. Looks like 3. My m is my rise over run, so I'm going to try to find another intersection point. Looks like there's maybe one here and maybe one there. It's kind of hard to see, so let's go ahead and count and see if they're the same. So this is up 1, right 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1, right 1, 2, 3, 4. It is. So it's up 1, right 4. Before we turn the page, remember that if the line is going upwards, it should have a positive slope. If the line is going downwards, it should have a negative slope. So just kind of double check there to make sure your positives and negatives are right. The word constant means it doesn't change, right? And a number, just a plain old number without anything else, that's a constant. So if we say y equals 2, then that means the y is always 2. And so the point, I'm going to scooch those over. If that's 2, then our point is negative 1, 2, or 0, 2, or 1, 2. Let me go to the graph and graph those. So negative 1, 2, 0, 2, and 1, 2 are all here. Notice they're all on a horizontal line. So there's my line. Let's go to the next one. It's going to have a similar result, and that is the answer is just 0 on all of them. So again, my y is negative 1. My x is negative 1. My y is 0. 0, 0, and 1, 0. And so if I come down here and graph them, here's negative 1, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 0. So I need to connect those with a straight edge. So it's important to realize that anytime you have just a y equals a plain old number, then you're going to have a horizontal line. So let's go ahead and circle that, a horizontal line. All right, let's look at the next set. Here, it's a little bit different. We're saying x is always 2. So this is going to be 2, 2, and 2. But the y changes. So we have 2, negative 1, 2, 0, and 2, 1. So 2, negative 1, 2, 0, and 2, 1. This time it's a little bit different. Let's get a straight edge. All right, now our line looks like this. It's going up and down. Let's check out the next one. Again, they're saying that the x should always be 0. And then the y is negative 1, 0, and 1. So if I go to x is 0 and y is negative 1, 0, 0, and 0, positive 1. Here are my points. Once again, I have a vertical line. And so the question down here says the graph of a line that's x equals a constant, constant means a number, will always be a vertical line. Now let's make sure that we're understanding the difference. This is a line of y equals 3. This is a line of y equals 3x. A line of y equals 3 is like what we were just doing a second ago. So if we had a table, for instance, we could say negative 1 has a 3, 0 has a 3, and 1 has a 3. The y is always 3. And so it's going to look like this. I'm going to take my straight edge, and I have a horizontal line. However, this other one, it looks similar, but it's not. It's like y equals 3x plus 0. This is the kind of line that we start at the 0, 0, and then we go up 3, right 1, and then up 3, right 1, or down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. And again, we take our straight edge. Okay, so in this case, it's a horizontal line. If there's an x, it's always diagonal. Anytime you have an x, it's always diagonal. All right, we are almost done with these notes, which is great news. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. And there was a typo, so please change these. This used to say horizontal. We're going to change it to vertical. This used to say vertical. We're going to change it to horizontal. We could have just gone with it, but the grammar was going to be off, and that would drive me crazy. So vertical lines have an undefined slope and are written as x equals a number. Whereas horizontal lines have a slope of 0, and they are written as y equals a number. Now there's a little mnemonic that you can use to memorize that, if you want to do that. And it's Hoy and Bucks. I never actually use this, but a lot of people do, so it works for some people. So Hoy and Bucks. So Hoy means horizontal, slope is 0, and the equation is a y equals equation. Whereas VUX means a vertical line, slope is undefined, and the equation is an x equals equation. All right, let's see what that means in the graphs. So starting with hoi, where it says y equals 3, that means y is always 3. And it means it does not even matter what you plug in here. You could plug in -5, you could plug in 0, you could plug in +4, doesn't matter, because y will always be 3. And so here's my -5, 3, here's my 0, 3, here's my 4, 3. My 4, 3 was off a little bit, so I moved it where it's supposed to be. And now I'm going to use my straight edge and put my line in. I keep saying use a straight edge, so you ought to be using a straight edge with your lines. Don't just freehand your lines. You need to use a straight edge. And that straight edge could be anything. It could be the edge of a piece of paper. It could be the edge of your ID. It could be the edge of your phone if your phone has a straight line. So anything that you can do. Okay, the next one, if we look at the graph, says x equals -4. That means every single time x is going to be -4. The y could be anything. It could be -3, it could be 0, it could be +2, anything. And so I plot those points, -4, -3, -4, 0, and -4, 2, and I use my straight edge. And so I have a vertical line. So just quickly to go through the mnemonic again. When it is y equals, that's hoi. That's y equals. It's a y equals kind of equation. It means the slope is 0, and it is a horizontal line. If you have an equation where it's x equals, then that's the VUX, or the VUX. And that means you have an x equals equation. It means a vertical line, and it means the slope is undefined. Okay, that wraps up our 2 lessons on slope intercept form.